So, folks, we need to talk a little bit about what the practice known as Fed posting and why you shouldn't do it, and why you shouldn't trust people who do it. Don't do it, and don't trust people who do it, okay? That's the main takeaway of today's segment, so please take it to heart. Now, folks, the reason you don't Fed post. Well, first, I guess we should start out. What is Fed posting? Fed posting is when somebody posts something like, hey, we should all do insert violent activity against target, insert target. Like, that's typically how some of this goes. Like it is a comment or commenting with the goal of stoking some kind of violent act. And the reason this is called Fed posting is because there is a widespread belief that people who talk like that on the internet are, in fact, federal agents who are trying to entrap you into doing, or at least plausibly planning some kind of, terroristic attack, right? So don't do it. Right? Because number one, if somebody is trying to incite you into that kind of language, they're not to be trusted. They're trying to use it against you. And number two, if someone isn't a Fed and they're posting that way, they are not trustworthy enough and stable enough to be trusted with any kind of cooperation on anything. So either way, it's kind of one of those things where you are signaling you are basically disqualified from being able to interact with a wider community. You are signaling to others that you are not safe to be around, right? And one of the, I guess, prime examples of why you shouldn't do this, yes, agent provocateurs, exactly, Zaran Joy. One of the reasons you shouldn't do this is kind of embodied in a recent news item. Now, many of you may be familiar with this already, but Pam Bondi announced that a terror plot for New Year's Eve had been foiled by the FBI, and 4 were in custody, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi said U.S. officials foiled a planned terror attack in Los Angeles, arresting 4 people allegedly plotting to launch a series of bombings on New Year's Eve. Now,
as someone who
okay,
has wanted to
that's
Fed
good.
post before, if they can't put that energy towards something actually constructive, then they have issues they need to work, even if they're genuine.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You need to figure out a positive way to channel that energy. And like, I don't know, like, it's not okay to be like, I'm like to say something like, I'm going to blow up a blank. Like, you can't do that. Stop it. Like, stop being ineffective and angry and instead be effective and build community. Like, join DSA, do something productive in your community. But engaging in like LARPy, LARPy virtue signally, like, or a terrorist signally, language is not helping anybody. It's just stoking your own ego, right? Now, what are the details of this plot, right? Also, Nathan, thank you for the $5 dono and for being the first person to support stream. I very much appreciate it. Folks like you make the show possible. Thank you for being one of the people who makes this all keep on chugging along, especially during the holidays. Okay. Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said they arrested members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, describing it as a pro-Palestinian extremist group. Quote, after an intense investigation, the Department of Justice, working with our FBI, prevented what could have been a massive and horrific terror plot in the Central District of California, Orange County, and Los Angeles. The Turtle Island Liberation Front, a far-left, pro-Palestine, anti-government, and anti-capitalist group, was preparing to conduct a series of bombings against multiple targets in California beginning on New Year's Eve, Bondi wrote, adding that the group also planned to target immigration officers and their vehicles. We will continue to pursue these terror groups and bring them to justice. Now, the what? The Turtle Island Liberation Front. I believe Turtle Island is a reference here to basically North America. I've never heard of this group before. They are new and or really small. The answer, they are extraordinarily small with Otro. They are not a big group. Okay? Oh boy, that's the most LARPy shit I've ever heard. Yeah. It's probably just a Discord group chat. Yeah. Kind of. So small they don't exist? No. They seem to exist. But looking over some of the documents provided, they don't look like they're very prepared, I should say. To really hammer it home, these people look to me, I don't have a bunch of training in this field. Just a bunch of caveats before I say this. I don't have a bunch of training in this field. I don't really know much at all about building explosives or anything like that. This all strikes me as an FBI informant found a bunch of kids or young people online and basically over the course of years, potentially, egged them on to do to take some additional steps here. Now you might be saying, well, look, Jack, you don't have any evidence of that. And like, okay, yeah, you're right. I don't necessarily have evidence of that, but like, I don't know, the fact that they have they've set up a bunch of folding tables and they have free Palestine stickers and a bunch of like snacks to put together apparently homemade bombs. Now, one might say, okay, all right. Well, let's take a look. Like, obviously, some things about this are gonna be coming together. Like, and I do want to say, what they were doing absolutely first steps towards like some kind of terroristic attack. Absolutely. That being said, who enabled them to take those steps? I think is a very interesting question. Now, one of the interesting things spotted by editor-in-chief of N2S Reports is that, well, information was provided to the FBI by a paid informant. So there was a paid informant that had infiltrated this group. And this paid informant has been on FBI's payroll since 2021. Okay. And the informant was allegedly given Operation Midnight Sun, which is the terrorist operation document, because they wrote down their plans in a document that they wrote by hand. And the informant, however, did not provide any additional details of how this plan came together or any conversations that led up to the making of this plan. So in the FBI informant's sequence of events, they had infiltrated this group, and then apropos of nothing, they suddenly manifested this plan that they wrote down and then gave to the FBI informant. We also just don't know how long the FBI informant had been a part of this group. Okay? And I also just want to say some of this stuff is, let me put it this way. In some of the documents, they talk about, like, the FBI informant allegedly taught them how to hide their gait from gait analysis by putting pebbles in their shoes. And look, guys, if you're in a group of supposed leftists and one of them starts talking about how to hide your gait from skilled FBI analysis about how you walk, they're a Fed. Like they're just they are a Fed. They're trying to entrap you. All right? So that's another thing right there. Let's just take a look at a little bit of this. Based on my review of the handwritten plan, the document outlined a plan of operation and identified that there would be teams of 4 OTG, or on-the-ground participants, plus one additional person who would assist the OTG co-conspirators, the off-ground member. Specifically, 3 members of each team would plant backpacks with IEDs at different points along their assigned buildings. The listed IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. One member of each team would create graffiti of a red triangle and one message of the team's choosing on the sidewalk closest to the building, while the other 3 were placing the devices. The designated off-ground team member was assigned to be listening to police scanners or in a vehicle in case an emergency getaway is needed. The written plan instructed that the bombs were to be detonated simultaneously on New Year's Eve 2025. The plan described just real quick, right? Again, don't know much about bombs. I do know, however, a lot about failed attempts at doing terrorism, just because I went down that rabbit hole one time. And notoriously, timing remote bomb detonations is really, really, really difficult. It's actually so difficult that most of the people who try that fail. Like, even if you are trained with explosives, infamously, the IRA is an example of this. They had, like, the technology, they had the training, they had the expertise, and, like, the IRA bombs did not always go off when they were intended to go off, all right? So, just their plan was to have several teams planting bombs, and then they'd all go off at the same time. No, you only think you can do that if you have no idea what you're doing. You only think you can do that if you have no idea what you're doing. The plan described multiple operational security measures the co-conspirators should take to conceal their identities, such as the use of a burner phone that would be disposed of after the bombings by, quote, submerging it in a concrete brick after destroying the sim and then disposing of the brick in a body of water. This is LARPy bullshit. I'm sorry. This is not like a coherent plan concocted by people who knew what they were doing. And when I say that, what I'm trying to imply here is that the government deliberately stringed these people along to get them to, like, make themselves criminals. I don't think this is a great place to talk about the details of timing mechanism. Isn't that the point? Look, all I'm saying, I'm not talking about the details of a timing mechanism. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry, if I was pulling up diagrams, that would be like verging on TOS. Well, that would be TOS. But I'm not doing that. I'm talking about a very commonly cited cause of failure for terrorist plots. It's a burner phone. You just throw it away. Exactly. Yeah, this is something 14-year-old boys would plan. Yeah. The target date of the operation, New Year's Eve, was identified as an opportune time because fireworks will be going off at this time, so explosions will be less likely to be noticed as immediately as any normal day. The plan emphasized that absolutely no mistakes can be made. The plans outlined the use of black block over top of a layer of gray casual block on top of normal street clothes, and noted to keep hair very tightly concealed and to wear gloves for the purpose of avoidance of leaving behind DNA. The plan further instructed the participants should leave their personal devices at home to make sure the devices were set up to stream a long movie during the time of the attacks, so as to craft an alibi or plausible deniability by having it appear as though the actor was actively using their devices. Yeah, guys, no one's gonna look. Your plan is to launch an attack in, again, relatively populated areas on New Year's Eve, a night famous for people not being outside. Yeah, no, this is really, really, really giving me entrapment vibes. I also just want to say this is part of the indictment. In a direct message between Carol and the CHS, that's the you know, informant, via Signal, on or about the December 10th, 2025, Carol stated, I kind of had this notebook where I wrote down multiple plans that never happened or got delayed. So it's like my terrorist diary. Lamau, I have to get rid of that. And look, this doesn't make me I like, guys, this is why you don't trust Fed posters. All right? Because they're either a Fed or they're dumb enough to be suckered in by a Fed. Okay? Either way, it's bad. It's just genuinely insane. This can't be real. Lamau, it is unfortunately all too real. Gotta get rid of my terrorist diary, Lamau. Like, come on, stop it. Stop it. Here's just another part. On December 9th, LAI sent the Black Lotus group chat a picture depicting twine, which had been taken from inside a vehicle, stating she, quote, found a bunch of these. Sissel, I think. Will that work for what we need? Paige responded that Paige thought it would, and that they could test it. On December 10th, 2025, at approximately 3:29 p.m., Paige messaged the group stating that 2 of the ingredients were acquired for the recipe. Paige also confirmed the starter was being acquired that evening. Based on my discussions with FBI agents conducting surveillance, I know that Paige was under FBI surveillance at the approximate time this message was sent, and that agents saw Paige obtaining a package from an Amazon pickup location located in Carson, California at approximately 3:14 p.m., 15 minutes before Paige sent that message. Yeah, no, like they bought the bomb components from FBI agents or while watched by FBI agents. Again, according to Amazon records on December 7th, 2025, Carol purchased 2 5-pound bags of potassium nitrate to be delivered to the Amazon counter at the Whole Foods located at blah blah blah. The potassium nitrate was delivered on December 11th, 2025, based on text communications the co-conspirators exchanged via Signal and information from agents conducting surveillance on LAI, or I guess Lie. I know that Lie picked up the box of potassium nitrate referenced in the paragraph above on or about December 11th. Like, y'all are just buying your bomb making components off of Amazon? Like, look. I'm just the government, guys, I don't know if you know this. The government tracks that. I'm baffled. Later that same day, on December 10th, FBI agents saw Paige purchasing pistol primers from a store in Irvine, California, dressed in a manner to obscure Paige's identity, namely wearing a medical mask, gloves, ball cap, and long-sleeve shirt. Based on conversations with an FBI special agent bomb technician, the primers that Paige purchased could serve as an initiator for an improvised explosive device. On December 10th, Carol replied to Paige's message about obtaining supplies, writing that she checked the supplies I'm getting, and one was already delivered. Got to pick up tomorrow, but yay! I can't. It's fucking nuts to see like their actual quoted messages to each other. Regarding travel to the desert, Paige wrote on December 10th, the other navigator, please have a burner phone, no phones besides burners, and all phones except navigators to be wrapped in foil or a Faraday bag for the entirety of the trip, and install Osmand. It's an open source maps, so no corporate tracking. On December 10th, 2025, Gaffield wrote, I have a few burners, but I'm saving for the big event, the big party, celebrate emoji. On December 11th, Paige stated, after further research, I retract my earlier statement of specializing in electrical work. I have the basics down, but building circuits is beyond me, which is needed for a digital timer. There are rudimentary options still. It gets worse. Based on my review of Signal's messages provided by the CHS, conversations with an FBI special agent involved in the debriefing of CHS and UCE, conversations with other law enforcement personnel involved in this investigation, my review of recorded conversations taken from the co-conspirators' vehicles, and my review of surveillance footage taken on December 12th, I know the following. A, on the morning of December 12th, Carroll, Page, Gaffield, and Lai traveled to, in, or around the Lucerne Valley in 2 vehicles. For the majority of the trip to the desert, the CHS was in 1 car, with Carroll and Lai, subject vehicle 1, and the UCE was in the other car with Page and Gaffield, the UCE vehicle. So just to be clear, they went out into the valley with an FBI agent in 1 car and an FBI informant in the other car. In the UCE vehicle, Page discussed using cigarettes as a delayed fusing device for the explosives once they arrived in the desert. No! Oh, God. They're not dumb enough to do that, are they? I don't know enough of the personal details of the people who are being, charged in this case, but this to me reeks of stupid people being entrapped. They wanted to use a cigarette for a delayed timing device. I can't. Carroll explained to Lai that the day's events were meant as a test run for New Year's Eve bombing plot, which Carroll described in detail, stating, "What we're doing will be considered a terrorist act." At approximately 10 a.m., the co-conspirators arrived at the desert and began setting up a campsite, including tents and table. Based on information from UCE and CHS, Carroll, Page, and Lai all brought bomb-making components to the campsite, including various sizes of PVC pipes, suspected potassium nitrate, charcoal powder, sulfur powder, and material to be used as fuses, among others. Some of those bomb-making components are depicted in the photographs below. Based on information from the UCE and CHS, shortly after the co-conspirators began transferring the precursors and other bomb-making components from their vehicles to the campsite, Carroll, Page, and Lai began setting up the bomb-making materials on a table. After UCE alerted law enforcement with a predetermined signal indicating the bomb testing was imminent, FBI personnel intervened and placed Carroll, Page, Gaffield, and Lai into custody. Now, as far as I know, these are the only members of this group. These folks are stupid. Stupid indeed. They were putting together bombs in front of FBI agents. The thing that I think definitely happened, and that the paid informant is omitting, is that I think that there was an awful lot of being led along toward this plan of action. It does not seem to me that this is... I get the impression from everything in the findings of the district court here that they are not the sharpest tools in the shed, we'll say.
A terror takedown. Prosecutors have charged 4 members of an alleged extremist group accused of plotting New Year's Eve bombings in California.
Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Grande is live in Westwood with new details from this morning's news conference. Carlos.
Well, that's right. Federal authorities say they stopped a New Year's Eve terror plot involving Southern California, and 4 people are now under arrest. The FBI says the suspects had a plan to carry out simultaneous bombings on New Year's Eve using backpacks rigged with improvised explosive devices. Now, here you see some surveillance video. Officials say it's the suspects as they plan to build and test the bombs. This was in Lucerne Valley, and shortly after this video was taken, the suspects were arrested. Now, they're allegedly part of a group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front, and they're identified as Audrey Carroll, Zachary Page, Tina Lay, and Dante Gaffield. Officials would not release any information about the target locations, only saying that they are logistics companies engaged in interstate and commerce. Now, investigators are also looking into online activity connected to the case. An Instagram account known as the Turtle Liberation publicly posted content advocating violence against U.S. officials. And according to the FBI, a recent post called for a revolution and urged supporters to organize and be ready. Officials say they also found items that said, "Death to America" and "Long live Palestine."
These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve. The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs, and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them.
Now, officials say there are more members to this group, but they believe they have arrested all of those who were specifically involved in this New Year's Eve plot. The suspect.
Yeah, like, okay. This is, this account has less than 1,000 followers. Like, I'm real sorry here, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happened here. All right? There are two possibilities the way I see it. Possibility number one, these people are young, impressionable, and were manipulated into doing this. Number two, a bunch of people who all it took was flattering their sensibilities and giving them a push. Like, there are some people on the left who have a gigantic ego and who only care about the virtue signaling, and they do not care about actually doing things that are actually effective. What they want to be is heroes. And like, all it takes is an FBI agent who is trying to, make a name for themselves to infiltrate that group and start like feeding actionable information like how to build explosives, or hey, I know a great place to target, or hey, we should be getting more violent in our rhetoric, and like pushing the group and pushing the group and pushing the group until suddenly they do or begin attempting to pull off some kind of attack. Right? This is a pretty common FBI tactic. But the two ways it goes, and the two most vulnerable groups of people are young, impressionable folks who are just entering into political awareness, and narcissists. Like, people who get caught up in like the narrative and think they're the protagonist, you know? And this is the reason you always look out for feds. Exactly. Like, they are willing and able to make you into an example. And I have no doubt, because like what these people did, undoubtedly illegal, right? But like, you gotta look out for the feds, because they will try and manipulate you into doing the illegal shit. They will try to get you to do that. And if you think you could never be manipulated by a fed, you're wrong. So, number one, don't do terrorism. Like, channel your energy into radicalizing your local Dems, building more community in your local area. Like, joining your DSA, getting involved in organizing activities, getting involved in unionization pushes in your local area. Like, look at the needs of your community and try providing for those needs. And like, do that. Build up power. And then you can use that power once you've built it. But like, I'm sorry, LARPy bullshit like going into the middle of the desert to test pipe bombs is not going to move the needle and help anybody. It's just going to get you arrested because you're dumb enough to do it in front of a fed. Like, build up productive, positive power. Get more people involved because they believe in getting involved. And like, channel your energy away from this honestly nihilistic, dead-end, violent thought. It is a non-starter. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the tool of our enemy. like, nah. We gotta fight better than that. We gotta build up a movement that cannot be silenced. And there's exactly, Derp G's. There is no shortcut to solidarity. You gotta do the work. So please, for the love of God, join your local Dems to radicalize them. Join your local DSA to make them more effective. You can join our Discord. There should be a link down in the description, or you can use !Discord in the chats. But join our Discord. Reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems and for assistance in radicalizing them. Dragonfly's been doing that work for a while now, and it's been yielding actual results. And if you need help joining your local DSA or forming a new chapter of DSA, reach out to GamerG. in the Discord, because she's also more than happy to get you involved and help you figure out how to organize and turn your local politics into something productive that actually works for you and your community, right? We need to be not just knowing what the correct thing to do is, but we need to actively be pursuing that better world. It's not enough to just know that a better world is possible. We must actively pursue it. And so, all that being said, oh God, they were 24, 30, 32, and 41. Well, I guess, some people never grow out of stupid. So they were the brainless, gullible, and easily flattered types, I see. Jesus.
Hello, fellow socialists. I am Jim Squarejaw and I'm excited to infiltrate. I mean join this community and help foster the revolution. If you could show me to the explosives room, that would be swell.
Oh, I don't care for this addition to the Riverboat Jack extended universe. But Paladin, thank you for the $10 dono. Also, there is no explosives room, just to be clear. All that being said, yeah, be better than this, and seek out how you can organize in your local community. All that being said, yeah, point me to the Red Barrel room. Every complex has one. Anyway, join your local DSA, join your local Dems, radicalize the Dems, make your DSA more effective. And also, remember to drop a like on the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think down in the comments. Apparently comments of 8 words or more are valued more by the algorithm. I don't know. Do the things. And also, please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats. Thank you, Patrick Lucas, for the gifted membership. You and folks like you are what make this show possible to do in the first place, and I really, really appreciate you. All that being said, also check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. We also tested it with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Rave reviews all around. Check it out. Link should be down in the doobly-doo. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.